Good morning, everybody, or anybody who happens to be out there. And it's Wednesday, so it's Blue Plate special day today. And today I'm going to be making a cream of mushroom soup. And I'm going to start off this morning just showing how I'm going to be using shallots in here. So instead of onions, or these are, I assume, are a form of an onion. All right, but anyways, I like the shallots. And I dice them up pretty small, so I'm going to show you how I do that. And I'm going to be using about a cup here. So when I split them, I dice them up small. So I cut them on the length, and then come across like this. There, a little end there, and I missed. All right. The same thing over here. Just run it down lengthwise. And then I chop it crossways. Like so. All right. And a lot of times if they have a skin, you can find one side and you run the blade down like this. All right. Looking for one thing and find another thing here. All right, we have one right here. I'll move these off to the side. It's not a big deal. I cut the ends off. And then I'll run it. You can see where the seam is in here. I'll try to run it along the seam if I can find one. Like that. Then it'll come in half sometimes, and then you can peel off the outer skin like that, and you're pretty much good to go. You can slice them up. So, and it's not always easy, especially when you got the camera running. Most of the time it comes off real easy if you don't have the camera going. So anyways, that's what I'm after. I'm going to continue chopping these up, but that's how I slice them. Whoop, peel them back. A lot of times I'll take the first, like on this one, I didn't cut very deep, but a lot of times I'll just go right in and, just me, I'll sacrifice that first layer, which is to get down to there. Don't have to all the time, but sometimes I do. So while I do so, I'll see you checking out while I do some more slicing and dicing. Alright, I'm back for a couple of minutes. I ended up with about a cup and a third of onions, a little bit more than I was going to go. I was going to go with 1 cup, but I chopped up one too many onions. But cooking is not a exact science. I think it's going to work just fine. Here's my tip of the day here, and it's not that I'm a genius. I got this in watching YouTube. Amazing, isn't it? If you take celery when you purchase it from the store and you wrap it in aluminum foil nice and tight, and this I actually got a little short on this. That should have been a little bit longer to get it tighter. You seal it up real good, and you fold the ends over. You can get celery to keep for weeks. I just marked my calendar, so I'm going to track it, and later on down the line I'll probably give out the results. But the last time I did it, I swear it had to have been in there 2.5 or 3 weeks, and it was just as fresh and crisp as could be. So I'm going to sign off while I chop up a little bit of celery, and I'll get back. Alright, I'm back just for a little bitty quickie here. 1/4 cup of celery, and when I say I dice it small, I dice it real small. I'll take a stalk, cut it down the center, open it, cut it down again if I can, and dice it up. So just kind of like maybe a slight background flavor on that to go in with this mushroom soup that I'm trying to build here this morning. I have the mushrooms, which I will clean off and dice up so we can get moving along. the recipe. So it's going to be a laid back recipe for the most part. So I'm going to check out and start doing some cleaning and dicing of mushrooms. Well, I guess it's time to get rolling a little bit here. I'll read off the ingredients, and as I build this soup, we'll continue and follow through, but I'm going to read them off right now. This, hopefully when I get done, it's going to be cream of mushroom soup, and it'll probably still have some bits of mushroom in it. I bought a 1 pound container of mushrooms, so that's what I'm using in there, baby portobello mushrooms. So you end up with 1 pound, and it ends up with, that's 4 cups, but it's probably close to 5 because it's well up over the mark. So whatever, I figured I was going to use whatever 1 pound came up to. Use 1 cup of onions chopped. Today I'm going to substitute 1 cup of shallots chopped fine. And also, just kind of an oddity today, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of celery chopped small. Okay. 4 tablespoons of butter inside the pot right now, and a tablespoon of olive oil. I have a 1/4 cup of bacon bits that are going to be used in this recipe. There'll be a 1/2 tablespoon of minced garlic will be going in, and there'll be 1/4 teaspoon of ground thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of parsley flakes rounded. There'll also be some evaporated milk going in towards the end, and there'll be chicken broth that'll be used, and I'll talk it through as I attempt to build this cream of mushroom soup. So to start with, I have got to put the 4 tablespoons of butter, which I did, and approximately a tablespoon of olive oil in there, and I'm going to fire up the burner here, bring that up to temperature. First thing I'm going to do is to bring the onions down and caramelize them, and that's going to take a bit of a time. We're 10:09 in my time right now, so the butter's starting to melt into the oil. As soon as it's heated enough, I will be starting the onions, and when they're caramelized, we'll be adding the mushrooms and bring them down, and then we'll be pressing on from there with the spices and the chopped bacon, bacon bits, and some flour, and well, we'll see how it turns out. So what you saw Senior checking out at the moment while waiting for his butter to melt and getting ready to do up them onions. Alright, I'm back for a wee bit. These onions are coming along fine. We're 7 minutes into cooking the onions right now. I'm going to add at this point my 1/4 cup of bacon bits, because the onions are getting close. I just want everything all to blend in. That's my plan of attack here. We'll see if it works when we sit down to eat it. Alright, I'm going to turn off the camera, cook this a little bit more, and I'll check back in. Alright, the onions have been cooking for 10 minutes. I just put the bacon in. And that bacon, by the way, was not super crispy bacon. I cooked it up and put it in the fridge. I keep it that way and do a little bit at a time when I want a piece of bacon. So it still has some nice bacon fat on it. It wasn't fried to a crisp. So we'll put some of its flavor into the mix here. Okay, I guess it's about that time. I'm going to put the garlic in. And I know I may be cheating a little bit. I'm using a jar of minced garlic. Alright, we'll call that a 1/2 tablespoon rounded. Not rocket science close. Now that, as soon as I smell that garlic aroma coming up, it's time to put the mushrooms in. And I'm going to put the celery in too. There we go. All right. And then go the mushrooms. All right, I will be turning the camera off while I work with the mushrooms, and I'll try to time and see how long it took. All right, I'm back. I just added the mushrooms. I cooked them down. They're going to release quite a bit of water. I have all my seasonings. I'm going to sprinkle them in right now and mix the whole works together. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to keep cooking this down now, hoping that all the seasonings are going to get absorbed along the way. Time will tell. So I might as well, yeah, a minute and 47 seconds into the cook job here on this part. So I will keep timing it, and we'll see how long it takes for those mushrooms to give up their water supply. Well, I do so, senior, check it out. All right, it took me 15 minutes to get them mushrooms down to where I feel I'm ready to put the flour in here and start turning this into a soup. That's a little hot. But I don't know if the camera can see it, but that's what it looks like now. That was really a lot of water in there, and it's still giving off a little bit of water, but I think we're down to the safe zone here, and I'm going to add the flour, and then I'll be adding some stock to it. And I'm just going by eye on that. I have about 22 ounces of chicken broth, in that jug right there. So be able to figure out just about how much it's going to take, or how much is left, if any. And I'm mixing in the flour as we speak. And as soon as I get that in there and tossed around nicely, and I know that it's starting to cook a little bit, and I can add the liquid to it and turn it into a soup, I hope. Nice cream soup. So there's a rounded tablespoon of flour going in here. There we go, that's done. So I'm going to mix this around a little bit. It's starting to stiffen up. I want to get that flour sort of cooked in a little bit before we put some liquid in there. All right, I don't want it to stick to the bottom. So. All right, I'm going to start adding some liquid, and if I don't have enough here, I can get some more. But this is how we're going to start. All right, to get the flour to start to do its thing. Heat up. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. It's going to take some more. One nice thing about this at the end, if it's not to the consistency you like, let's say it's still too thin, you mix a little bit of cornstarch and cold water and add it in and stir it in, and that usually takes care of your problem. Just a little bit at a time and mix it in good. Let's see, that's got some consistency to it right now. Remember, this is going to be beat to it fairly well with the immersion blender. There will be evaporated milk going in this. You can also use heavy cream. A lot of people use heavy cream. I don't keep cream around the house, so evaporated milk is my go-to substitute. turn the camera off for a little bit while I stir this, and we'll see. I'll let you know how much I had to put in. Okay there, I got the immersion blender out, and I'm going to let this soup simmer for a while. It's 10:47. Just going to let it turn the heat down, let it cook a little bit. I'll put 20 ounces, I believe, of broth in there, and that's depends on what you want. You know, if I'd have put a little bit more flour, I'd have to probably use more. If I use less flour, I'd have to use less liquid. So far so good. We're going to let it simmer, and I'll be checking back in. Probably bake a store-bought French bread in the oven to go with the soup. So Lloyd Dussault checking out here and waiting for the soup to simmer a while. Well, I have my French bread waiting here. Go in the oven. It's 11:14. As soon as the oven comes up to temperature, we'll put it in. I'm hoping it'll be heated up by 11:30. And I can put the bread in, so it'll come out just about noontime when everything else is ready. The soup is on the back burner here, nice and warm. I have not put the blender to it, the immersion blender to it yet. I will do that, and I will be putting some whipped cream in, but I'm going to wait a bit, closer to lunchtime before I do that. So Lloyd Dussault Senior checking out and getting ready for lunch. Oh, hello there. I'm back. My oven has reached the critical mass temperature of 350 degrees, and it's about 11:25, so that should bring the bread out just about noontime. So in she goes. All right, I'm gonna check my mushroom soup at this time. Oh, looks nice. Yep, sure does. Yes, now it seems thin, but once I put the blender to it, it'll get a little bit creamier and then a little bit of milk in it. So I'm gonna let that set for a bit. Lloyd Dussault Senior checking out, and we'll be checking in just about quarter of perhaps. All right, let's try this again. I think I missed some of this. I just took the soup off the back burner in case I missed some. Brought it out front. Going to start the immersion blender in here and try to bring this stuff down to make it a creamy mushroom soup. Then I will be adding the final evaporated milk here when we get close. So I will turn off the camera here for a minute while I beat this into submission. All right, I'm back. We got that pretty well mushed down, as they say. Now I'm going to put some of this evaporated milk in here. We have 1 cup. Take at least a cup. Oh, that's looking pretty nice. All right. Alrighty now. Well, this will be ready to serve at noontime, hopefully. So Lloyd Dussault Senior checking out. We have it all mixed up. I'm going to do one more good twirl for good measure here with the blender. All right, there's still going to be some chunks of mushroom in there, and I don't have a problem with that. So Lloyd Dussault Senior checking out. It'll be almost time to take out the bread and serve lunch when I get back. Alright, hopefully the camera will stay on for me here. It's time to remove, and while I'm right here, I'm going to turn off my oven so I don't forget to do it. I need to burn up that gas for nothing. Alright, here's our French bread that's going to go with the soup. Let's see if I can. Oh, looky there, will you? Back in the oven with this now. And we're just on standby. A few more minutes to go before lunchtime. But the bread is ready. Soup is ready. Paul should be getting here pretty soon, so while I do Saltini, check it out. We'll be checking in when we're ready to serve. Okay, now. Lunch is ready to be served. There's the soup. I'm going to pour the first bowl for Paul. There will be some chunks of mushroom left in there, but it's mostly creamy. And we'll decide whether we like the consistency after we've had lunch. And we'll tell you whether it's thick enough or too thin or whatever. So there's the first bowl. And I'm going to turn off the camera and we're going to have lunch. All right. The two old guys ate all of their soup. And what do you think, Paul? Is this the number 4 star at least?
At least.
Paul says it's the number 4 star, and I agree. What I'm going to be doing here is putting a little bit aside here. Paul to take back with him. So there's lady friend can try out some of the soup. And maybe we can get a 4 star from her. So while I do Saltini, check it out. I've saved just a little bit for my daughter so she don't get mad at me. Another lunch well made, I hope, and we enjoyed it. That mushroom soup, if you want to make it, have a go at it. You won't be sorry. And now Paul and I are going to have a little bit of ice cream and ginger snaps for dessert. Have a good day.